The painful truth is this: she did not expect your silence to feel this real. She expected the old version of you, the version that would text one more time, the version that would explain his heart again, the version that would apologize even when he was not sure what he did wrong, the version that would check her stories, wait for her replies, overthink every word, and treat her distance like an emergency he had to fix immediately. But this time, something changed. You did not chase, you did not beg, you did not send the long paragraph, you did not ask mutual friends what she was doing, you did not post something just to make her react. You did not stand outside the door of her life begging for a place back inside. You disappeared instead. But understand this clearly: disappearing does not mean becoming childish. It does not mean trying to hurt her. It does not mean playing games. It does not mean becoming cruel, cold, bitter, or fake. It means you stop giving emotional access to someone who is giving you confusion. That is different. And before this ends, you need to understand two things. First, when a woman expects you to chase and you do not, it changes the whole emotional dynamic. Second, the real purpose of disappearing is not to make her suffer. It is to stop yourself from suffering for someone who is not meeting you with clarity. Because the strongest move is not revenge, the strongest move is self respect. A man does not regain respect by chasing, he regains power by staying calm when everything inside him wants to react. He regains power by stepping back when fear tells him to run forward. He regains power by controlling his emotions, rebuilding his life, and letting his actions speak louder than his panic. The goal is not to manipulate her into returning. The goal is to become a man who no longer loses himself when someone walks away. That is the man she did not expect. She may have expected you to break after one night. She may have expected you to text after one story. She may have expected you to ask why she changed. She may have expected you to keep proving what she already knew. She may have expected you to stay emotionally available in the background while she decided what she wanted. But when you disappear with dignity, the old pattern ends. And when the old pattern ends, she has to feel something she may not have felt before. She has to feel life without your emotional access, not your anger, not your revenge, not your performance. Your absence, real absence, the kind that does not announce itself, the kind that does not beg to be noticed, the kind that does not post every move, the kind that does not keep checking whether she is watching, the kind that simply says, I am no longer available for confusion. That kind of absence is powerful because it comes from self respect. Now, most men do the opposite. When she pulls away, they move closer. When she replies late, they text again. When she gets cold, they become warmer. When she gives less, they give more. When she becomes unclear, they start explaining. When she creates distance, they start doing emotional labor for both people, and they call it love. But often it is fear of losing her, fear of being replaced, fear of being forgotten, fear that if they stop trying, everything will end. And here is the truth that hurts, but also gives a man his power back. If something only survives because you keep chasing it, it is not standing on mutual effort, it is standing on your fear. And a relationship that stands on your fear will eventually destroy your dignity. You will start ignoring your own needs. You will start accepting less effort than you deserve. You will apologize too quickly. You will overthink simple things. You will wait for crumbs and call them hope. You will call anxiety love because you are addicted to the relief that comes when she finally replies. That is not peace. That is emotional dependency. And the moment you realize that, you begin to understand why you had to disappear, not because you stopped caring, because you finally started caring about yourself too. A man can care and still step back. A man can miss her and still not chase. A man can love deeply and still refuse confusion. A man can feel pain and still not let pain lead. That is maturity. Now, when she thought you would chase, she was expecting the version of you she already understood. She knew how he reacted. She knew what silence did to him. She knew one cold reply could make him nervous. She knew one little sign could pull him back. She knew if she stayed distant long enough, he would probably reach. But when you do not, she may feel confusion first, not regret. Confusion because people notice when the old access disappears. They notice when the person who used to react stops reacting. They notice when the person who used to explain stops explaining. They notice when the person who used to chase stops chasing. They notice when the attention that once felt automatic is no longer available. But do not get addicted to imagining what she is feeling. That is another trap. Some men disappear physically but keep chasing mentally. They stop texting, but they spend the whole day thinking, is she feeling it yet? Is she missing me yet? Is she watching me? Is she confused? Is she comparing me to him? Is she regretting it? Is she about to reach out? That is still chasing. You are not chasing with messages, but you are chasing with your attention. And attention is energy. Where your attention goes, your power follows. If your attention is still on her profile, her mood, her new followers, her possible regret, her possible return, her possible feelings, then your power is still living in her world. Take it back. Your body needs you, your work needs you, your money needs you, your sleep needs you, your discipline needs you, your faith needs you, your future needs you. Stop giving your strongest energy to someone who is giving you uncertainty. That is not hate. That is self respect. Now, let us talk about the man sitting alone at night, because that is where the real battle happens. During the day, he can act strong, he can train, he can work, he can talk to people, he can say, I am done. I am not chasing, I am moving on. But then night comes, the room becomes quiet, the phone is close, the memories start moving. He remembers the warm version of her, the way she used to talk, the way she used to look at him, the way she used to make him feel chosen, the way she once made him believe this connection was different. Then the cold version comes back, the short replies, the distance, the silence. The way she made him feel like asking for effort was asking for too much. The way he started becoming smaller just to keep the connection alive. And suddenly, the urge comes, text her, say something, ask her what happened, tell her you miss her. Explain one last time, get closure, but be honest. Most of the time, he does not want to text because it is wise. He wants to text because he wants relief, relief from anxiety, relief from uncertainty, relief from the fear that she is gone, relief from the feeling that he no longer matters. That is where a man is built or broken. A strong man tells himself the truth before he acts. He says, I want to text because I am scared. Then he does not send from fear. He puts the phone down. He walks, he trains, he writes the message in notes but does not send it. He prays if faith is part of his life. He sleeps. He lets the emotional wave rise and fall without obeying it. Pain can be felt without being followed. You can miss her and still not text. You can care and still not chase. You can feel rejected and still not beg. You can want answers and still not reopen the wound. That is emotional control. And emotional control is not about controlling her. It is about finally controlling yourself, because if one lonely night can make you break your own promise, your silence is not self respect yet. It is delayed reaction. If one story can ruin your mood, she still controls your peace. If one small sign can make you forget your standards, then you were not healing. You were waiting. That is why disappearing has to be real. Not fake, not dramatic, not attention seeking. Real, you do not disappear so she notices you. You disappear so you can finally notice yourself again. You notice how much of your peace was tied to her reply. You notice how quickly your mood changed when she acted cold. You notice how often you checked your phone. You notice how much time you wasted trying to understand someone who was not communicating clearly. You notice how much of yourself you gave away just to keep her close. And that realization hurts. But it also wakes you up, because once you see the pattern, you can break it. Maybe you thought you were being loyal, but you were abandoning yourself. Maybe you thought you were being patient, but you were accepting disrespect. Maybe you thought you wanted closure, but you secretly wanted another chance. Maybe you thought you were moving on, but you were still watching her every move. Maybe you thought silence meant strength, but you were just waiting for her to break first. This is why your comeback cannot be built around her comeback. Your comeback must be yours. Now, when she expected you to chase and you disappeared instead, she may start testing the door eventually. Not always, not guaranteed. But sometimes, when a woman realizes the old access is gone, she sends something small. Hey, how have you been? You've been quiet. I hope you're okay. I saw something that reminded me of you. Do you hate me now? This is where most men lose everything they built. They survive the silence, but they cannot survive her attention. Her name appears on the phone, and the old version wakes up. He replies instantly. He writes too much. He asks if she missed him. He tries to force clarity. He pours weeks of pain into one conversation. He treats one small message like a full return. And she feels it. She feels the hunger. She feels the old weakness. She feels that his silence was not growth, it was waiting. Do not be that man. A small message is not a full return. A hey is not accountability. And I miss you is not change behavior. A late night text is not emotional maturity. A story view is not love. A woman touching the door is not the same as a woman walking through it with clarity. If she says, hey, you can say, hey, hope you're doing well. That is enough. If she says, I miss you, you can say, I hear you. What made you reach out? If she says, I've been thinking about us, you can say, I understand. What do you want to do with that? If she says, can we talk? You can say, we can talk, but I am not rushing back into anything. These are not games, they are calm boundaries. They show openness without desperation. They invite clarity without begging. They protect your peace without attacking her. A real return can handle patience. A fake return usually cannot. If she genuinely wants to reconnect, she will respect your pace. If she only wants emotional access, she may disappear when she realizes you are not easy anymore. Let that happen. You need truth more than temporary comfort. Because temporary comfort can pull you back into the same cycle that broke you. Truth sets you free. Now, there is a reason she may feel your disappearance more than your explanations. Explanations still give access. Chasing still gives access. Begging still gives access. Even arguing still gives access. But calm distance removes access. And when access disappears, a person finally has to sit with what they chose. If she chose distance, she experiences distance. If she chose silence, she experiences silence. If she chose confusion, she does not get your full emotional investment. If she chose to treat you like an option, she does not get priority access. That is not cruelty, that is reality. You do not need to soften the consequence of her choices. You do not need to keep the door warm for someone who is not walking through it with clarity. You do not need to compete for a place in her life when you already showed what you brought. You do not need to keep proving your value to someone who benefited from it. Sometimes reality teaches what your words could not, but you must stop interrupting reality with desperation. Every time you chase after she pulls away, you interrupt reality. Every time you send one more message after she ignored you, you interrupt reality. Every time you ask mutual friends about her, you interrupt your own healing. Every time you post just to get her attention, you are still giving her power. That is why you step back completely, not to punish, to recover. Now, here's your practical reset. For 7 days, do not message her first from panic. Do not check her stories. Do not ask mutual friends about her. Do not post to get her attention. Do not make emotional decisions at night. Do not reread old messages until your chest hurts. Do not send a soft message when what you really want is reassurance. Put that energy into training, work, money, sleep, discipline, faith, emotional control, and rebuilding your identity. Train your body even when your mind is heavy. Clean your space even when your emotions feel messy. Fix your sleep because tired men make weak decisions. Eat properly because heartbreak drains your focus. Walk when anxiety hits. Drop what you want to say, but do not send it from panic. Put your phone away before midnight. Build your day before your emotions build it for you. This is not about pretending you do not care. It is about proving that her silence does not own you. Every time you do not chase, you rebuild self trust. Every time you do not check, you rebuild control. Every time you do not ask about her, you rebuild dignity. Every time you keep your routine while hurting, you become stronger. Confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself. You said you would not chase. Do not chase. You said you would not beg. Do not beg. You said you would not abandon your standards. Do not abandon them. That is how a man becomes solid. And a solid man is not easily pulled back into chaos. Now, during this reset, your mind will attack you. It will say, she will forget you. It will say, another man will replace you. It will say, she thinks you do not care. It will say, you are losing your chance. It will say, text her before it is too late. But fear speaks like certainty. Fear speaks like certainty. Creates a full story with no proof. It turns one silent day into permanent rejection. It turns one post into proof she is happier. It turns one unanswered message into proof you meant nothing. Do not let fear become your leader. A grounded man says, maybe she forgets, maybe she does not, maybe she returns, maybe she does not. But I will not destroy my dignity trying to control what I cannot control. That is peace because you do not control whether she misses you, you control whether you chase. You do not control whether she comes back. You control whether you keep your standards. You do not control whether she regrets it. You control whether you rebuild. You do not control her feelings. You control your actions. That is masculinity. Not control over a woman, control over yourself. Now, let us talk about rebuilding, because disappearing without rebuilding becomes waiting, and waiting becomes bitterness. If you stay silent but do nothing, your mind will circle her all day. You will imagine, you will compare, you will create stories, you will treat every day like a countdown until she reaches out. You will call it discipline, but it will really be emotional hunger. That is why motion is medicine. Train your body, not so she notices, but so you remember your strength. Build your money, not so she regrets leaving, but so your future has options. Fix your sleep, not because it sounds motivational, but because tired men make emotional decisions. Work on your discipline, not to impress her, but because your emotions cannot be trusted to lead every choice. Deepen your faith or inner grounding, not to perform peace, but to actually find it. Pain without discipline becomes bitterness. Pain with discipline becomes power. Use the pain correctly. Do not use it to stalk. Use it to train. Do not use it to compare. Use it to build. Do not use it to beg. Use it to become steady. Do not use it to hate women. Use it to raise your standards. That is transformation. Now, when she notices you disappeared, she may wonder if you found someone else. She may wonder if you stopped caring. She may wonder if she pushed you too far. She may wonder if the old emotional access is really gone. She may wonder why you are not acting like the man she expected. But again, do not make her wondering your addiction. Your job is not to become obsessed with what is happening in her mind. Your job is to stop letting her mind control yours. Because if your healing depends on her reaction, she still owns your healing. If your confidence depends on her regret, she still owns your confidence. If your peace depends on her coming back, she still owns your peace. That is too much power to give one person. A free man does not need revenge, he needs direction. A free man does not say, I hope she suffers. He says, I hope I never abandon myself like that again. That is the higher path. A weak man turns heartbreak into bitterness. A strong man turns heartbreak into standards. A weak man wants to make her feel pain. A strong man refuses to keep causing pain to himself. That is the difference. Now, if she comes back with real maturity, do not punish her. This matters. Some men finally get attention back, then become arrogant. They act cold. They say, now you want me. They try to make her feel small because she hurt them, but that is not strength. That is pain pretending to be power. A strong man does not need revenge to feel masculine. If she comes with clarity, listen. If she comes with humility, observe. If she comes with consistent effort, allow trust to build slowly. But do not rush. Forgiveness can happen in a moment. Trust takes time. Do not confuse the two. If she apologizes, receive it calmly, but watch behavior. If she says she misses you, hear it, but watch consistency. If she wants to talk, talk, but do not throw away your peace. That is how a mature man moves now. If she comes back with confusion, step back. If she says, I miss you, but I do not know what I want, do not become her emotional waiting room. If she says, I care, but I am not ready, do not give full access to uncertainty. If she reaches out at night and disappears in the morning, do not chase. If she wants comfort without responsibility, step back. A man with self respect does not build his peace on maybe. Maybe he can have space. Maybe he can have observation. Maybe he does not get your whole heart. That is how you protect yourself. Now, what if she never comes back? This is the part your ego does not want to hear. Maybe she never texts. Maybe she never apologizes. Maybe she never admits what she lost. Maybe she never gives you the closure you wanted. Maybe she really moves on. Maybe the story ends without the scene your heart keeps imagining. Can you still become strong? That is the test, because if your healing depends on her message, she still owns your healing. If your confidence depends on her regret, she still owns your confidence. If your peace depends on her return, she still owns your peace. The highest proof is not her return. The highest proof is your peace. Can you sleep without her reply? Can you train without needing her to notice? Can you work without checking your phone every 10 minutes? Can you stop asking about her? Can you feel sadness without turning it into begging? Can you remember her without reopening the wound? Can you love deeply without losing your frame? That is success, because a man who can do that is no longer easy to break. He is harder to manipulate, harder to pull into chaos, harder to make insecure, harder to treat like an option, harder to replace with temporary attention. That man is attractive because he is not desperate for attraction. He has direction. And direction is one of the strongest things a man can have. A man with direction does not orbit around a woman's uncertainty. He has things to build, he has a body to strengthen, he has money to earn, he has skills to sharpen, he has faith to deepen, he has standards to protect. He has a future that does not pause because one person became unclear. That is real masculine power, not forcing her to miss you, not making her regret, not playing games. Becoming the man who no longer has to beg anyone to see his worth. Now ask yourself something honest. Do you want her back because she is good for your peace? Or do you want her back because being chosen again would repair the wound of rejection? Do you miss her character? Or do you miss the version of yourself you felt like when she wanted you? Do you want a healthy relationship? Or do you want proof that you were enough? These questions matter because sometimes a man does not want the woman back. He wants the rejection reversed. He wants the silence to end. He wants the pain to stop. He wants one message to prove he still matters. But that is not love. That is the wound asking for validation. Real love cannot grow where self respect is missing. If she comes back with clarity and respect, listen. If she comes back with confusion, step back. If she never comes back, keep walking. Because the goal is not to be chosen by someone who left. The goal is to become a man who never abandons himself when someone leaves. That is the real transformation. Now, tonight, when your mind tells you to text, do not text from panic. When your ego wants proof that she misses you, do not search for proof. When your heart wants to check her stories, do not feed the wound. When loneliness tells you to reopen a door that hurt you, breathe. Put the phone down, stand up, drink water, walk, train, pray, work, sleep, build. Do one thing that makes tomorrow better because discipline is how a man tells heartbreak. You can hurt me, but you cannot lead me. That is the man she may not expect, not the man who begged, not the man who folded, not the man who chased until he lost his dignity, the man who hurt but stayed composed, the man who cared but did not abandon himself, the man who wanted her but did not make her return the measure of his worth. The man who turned silence into standards, pain into discipline, and loss into direction. That man is hard to manipulate. That man is hard to replace. That man is free. So remember this, she thought you would chase her, but you disappeared instead. Not because you are weak, not because you are cruel, not because you want revenge, because you finally understood that your peace is not something you hand to someone who is unsure about you. You finally understood that your attention has value. You finally understood that love without self respect becomes a prison. You finally understood that chasing confusion only creates more confusion. So you step back, you stop checking, you stop begging, you stopped rewarding distance with desperation, you stopped turning pain into messages, you took your energy back, and now your work is simple: build your body, build your mind, build your money, build your peace, build your discipline. Build your direction, become a man whose self respect is stronger than his fear of being forgotten. Because the deepest truth is this: the goal is not to disappear so she comes running. The goal is to become so grounded that if she comes back, you do not lose yourself. And if she never comes back, you still keep walking like a man who chose his own life.